Yes, bro.
What's up? My name is Dakota Roche, and I'm going to teach you how to do a wall ride on a flat wall, and this is ridebmx.com. So first thing off, you just want to find like a nice flat wall, nice sturdy wall, something maybe brick or definitely not any sort of drywall or anything. You'll go right through it, but nice flat wall with a nice run up, just flat surface. Probably find something with smooth ground, so if you slam, you're not really like sliding all over the place on gravel. I've done it before, it's not fun. Yeah, once you find a nice setup, you know, it's basically a matter of commitment when you get to it. When you're first jumping at the wall, it's going to feel really uncomfortable, and it's going to be like, it's going to seem like, oh man, this is kind of impossible. Like, how do you get to that point? But figuring out how to tilt your bike is key. Don't run parallel with the wall too much because it's really hard to actually stick to the wall then. You almost have to come at like, I would say, a 45 at the wall, because if you go directly straight at it, nothing's going to happen. You're going to run into a wall, and if you come too much to the side, you're not going to get your tires on right. So I like to come in at like a 45. It's good to jump like a good foot before the wall so your front tire has time to travel before it hits it, because if it doesn't, you're just, like I said, you're just going to run into a wall, and no one wants to really do that. If you give yourself like a nice foot or two to like kind of gap to it so your tires have time to lift up and kind of connect to the wall, that's always best. Once you're feeling comfortable at jumping at the wall and kind of hitting it, you'll probably slide off for the first, you know, X amount of tries. I don't know, everybody's different, but I know I would hit and slide off, and it was, yeah, kind of hard to figure out. You'll figure out that with that foot that you give yourself, or the 2 feet you give yourself, you'll have time to lift your tires up and to slant your bike as well. So when you hit it, you're doing more of a ride and not as much of just like a splat. So when I say lean, I mean you kind of have to drop your outer shoulder, not your inner, because then you're going to slam into the wall. So drop your outer shoulder and kind of give your bike a nice little tilt. But don't turn your bars too much when you're doing it. You want to keep your tires kind of even, so you're actually able to ride up the wall a little bit when you do it. So the shoulder drop definitely helps with getting a nice little ride out of it. For me, like if you want to get like a nice carve on the wall, it's like I said earlier, you kind of have to gap to it so you have time to go up, and you don't want your bike to be even on the wall. You kind of want to be going upwards a little bit. You want to aim to where your front tires maybe like, I would say like 2 feet higher than your back, so you could kind of like get a nice ride up, and then when you get to your peak, you could either continue to ride down and hop off, or you could pull off when you get to your peak. I like, you know, either one's fun, and for, you know, different circumstances, obviously you would choose one or the other. So once you're comfortable with getting on the wall and doing a little bit of a ride, you're going to want to learn how to come off, because if you stay in contact with the wall too much, you're just going to slide off, because it's the laws of gravity. You can't really be sideways like that for that long. You know, there's a couple different methods. You could obviously kind of ride up and kind of start going down, like, you know, your tire marks will look like a rainbow, and then by that time you're kind of coming in nosedive, so you have to pull up at the end and kind of, you know, you want to land 2 tires. You don't want to land nose in, especially if you're doing it off of something eventually when you get them good on flat walls. So what I like to do when I'm doing the ones where I'm kind of riding down as well, I like to, you know, spot my landing and start lifting off the wall as if you're like lifting off into a manual, and then that way your back tire starts to ride down, but your front's already off. So then by the time you come down, you're 2 tires, or even landing back tire, which is fine, just as long as you're not landing 2 back tire. If you want to do the other method, which is like kind of wall riding up and pulling out when you get to your peak, that way is fun too. Same thing, you kind of just lift off with your front wheel. Your back wheel's going to be on a little bit longer, and since your back tire's on the wall, you have some sort of leverage. You're pulling off your front, and then your back tire like could push off it a little bit. And same thing, you kind of want to lift your front end so you don't land front wheel, unless you're doing a nose manual. And then, you know, once you're comfortable with them and you're able to do them on flat walls, and you have a good understanding of how to pull off the wall and land 2 tires, you could take it to either, you could do wall rides downstairs or off loading docks. It's just a matter of how comfortable you are with the trick at that time.